Christmas is almost here. You know what reminds me of the holidays? Nintendo for some reason. No joke, Nintendo's been part of my life since as far back as I can remember. From the NES to the Switch, I've had pretty much every console they've released. I even have this abomination. I have a problem. Opening Nintendo games as a child is kind of what gave me my love for gaming in general. So this December I'm going to have an homage to the company that really helped me find my love of video games. The question then becomes, what game do I review? Well, recency bias is a really strong drug. Let's talk about Super Mario Odyssey. Mario Odyssey. What is there to say about a game that blew everyone away on release? There's gotta be hundreds or thousands of videos discussing this game by now. It was the first 3D Mario for the Switch and helped to bring Mario fully into the newest generation. Super Mario Odyssey released on October 27th of 2017, releasing the same year the Nintendo Switch did, and it's still one of the best games on the console to date. Nintendo did this thing where they released their two core franchises in the first year of the console's life and watched as the console sold in the millions. Mario Odyssey would go back to its 3D roots and give Mario a sandbox in which to explore. The game is a collectathon 3D platformer that pretty much excels in the genre. Mario basically created the genre, so it's expected for the plumber to keep excelling with every new release. The last 3D Mario game besides 3D World was Super Mario Galaxy 2 on the Wii. You know, that console that everyone has at least one of, including your grandma. Galaxy 2 released in 2010, and it would be a whole 7 years before Odyssey would release for the Switch. 7 years was the longest time we had to wait between 3D Mario games ever. Which isn't saying a lot since the longest time prior was 6 years, which was between 64 and Sunshine. The Wii U wouldn't ever receive a 3D Mario game. Well, I guess they got 3D World, but that's not really the same thing now, is it? The console pretty much flunked right out of the gate for many reasons I'm not going to cover now. Just know a lack of true 3D Mario may have had a hand in ending its life cycle early. When the Switch released, Nintendo knew they needed some games to really drive sales, and so Super Mario Odyssey was announced in 2016 with a release date being the following year. It was enough to drive hype for the console, and it definitely got a lot of people excited for what Nintendo could have in store. Super Mario Odyssey released on the Switch, and to no one's surprise, sold exceptionally well. Wow, a Nintendo console with a 3D Mario game sells millions, who would have thought? The game starts how many Mario games do. Princess Peach is being kidnapped by Bowser on his Final Fantasy airship. Come on, Bowser, you have an airship now. You can get any girl you want in the kingdom. Girls love airships. The ones I know love airships. Mario's holding his own against Bowser and then loses to a sudden boomerang hat toss by the Koopa King. Bowser then proceeds to step on the most iconic part of Mario's attire, his hat. Mario then wakes up in a grayscale land where a ghost hat is floating around him. The hat turns out to be Cappy, Mario's new companion for this journey and the brother of the tiara that Princess Peach was forced to wear by Bowser. With your goals of saving Peach and Cappy's sister aligned, you then begin your journey to save them together. Let's start with something that Mario games have always gotten right. The controls are top notch, some of the most fluid and enjoyable movement mechanics in any game, let alone a Mario game. You have all of Mario's usual jumping mechanics. You can triple jump with the right timing, dive, and roll all over the map. Traversing the open world as Mario feels amazing. So amazing that it doesn't even matter that the story of the game is as generic as Mario stories can get. But do you really care about the story of Mario? Movement doesn't end there, though. You remember Cappy? Well, he doesn't just act as a guide to Mario, he's a full-blown mechanic. You can throw Cappy in all sorts of directions depending on how you move the Joy-Con controllers. Straight up in front of you, up in the air, or in a full circle around Mario. Cappy can be used as a weapon to defeat enemies, collect coins off of certain objects, or break boxes and items in your way. It feels so natural throwing him around too. He just feels like a natural extension of the Mario moveset, like Mario would feel naked without him. Honestly, it'll be hard for them to move forward with the next 3D Mario game without the amazing moveset available through Cappy. As an example, Cappy can give Mario an extra jump if you dive on him in midair. He can also launch Mario in the air if you run into him while he's still spinning. These moves come in handy more times than I can remember. I made some incredible jumps with Cappy as an extra movement aid. The one time you don't have Cappy, you can really feel how off it feels to maneuver without him. Which brings me to one of the main strengths of Super Mario Odyssey. The game implements a new feature gimmick that works so well for Mario's moveset that if it were removed, the game would be completely different. Cappy is just as vital to Mario's journey as Mario is, and in turn just as required for the success of the game. The mechanics of Cappy on Mario's natural moveset is amazing in itself and probably would have made the game more enjoyable by themselves, but there's actually more to it. The real main gimmick of the game is the other power Cappy gives to Mario. If the player throws Cappy at certain enemies, then Mario will mind meld into his enemy. The enemy then wears a Mario hat and gains a mustache. Besides making for some amazingly funny character models, it also lets Mario steal their abilities and mechanics as Mario can now control them. It's like that weird fungus that controls insects, except, cute because Mario hat and mustache. Now, on paper, Mario stealing someone's mind and transferring his body into them sounds like a weird fan-fiction horror story, but actually it ends up being a pretty cool mechanic. The mechanic is utilized very well in pretty much every instance that Mario is able to do it. Except with the Goombas, I hate controlling them and they don't have any fun moves or anything. You usually get to stack on top of each other and make a female Goomba very happy before she gives you a moon. Before I get to the power moons, let's talk about some of the enemies Mario can transform into. You have the Goombas as mentioned before, but also these guys with the long legs that are my favorite, Bullet Bills, Cheep Cheeps, Wrigglers, and a giant T-Rex. Yeah, the T-Rex was a weird inclusion for the game, but they showed it off in promotional material, so it's in the game. Though you only get to use it a few times, which is kind of a shame. The enemies that Mario can control each have their own abilities that make them fun to use for the most part. Some are obviously less fun than others, but it's still a cool gimmick mechanic that I'm not sure how they could have pulled off any other way. Just don't think about Mario's mind control powers and the inhumanity of it all, and you'll be fine. The main goal of all 3D Mario games is to collect stars around the different worlds and levels that you traverse. This time Mario has to collect Power Moon, a kind of living energy similar to a star that you'll need to power Mario's very own airship called the Odyssey. I know, the name is way cooler than how it actually looks. You'll find a few moons littered everywhere around the different levels in the game. You start in a pretty quaint little island kingdom known simply as Cascade Kingdom. This is where you'll find your airship and start your journey. The game gives you a quick rundown of what you'll be doing and how to play the game. This area has plenty of little secrets you can find by exploring. The first thing you'll notice is there's not really a hub world. You can just pick a kingdom to fly to and then you're plopped in an open environment where you can instantly start collecting coins and moons. Another big difference is that the game doesn't restart you after finding a power moon. You can collect them one after another and the game won't skip a beat. Though a small animation does play after finding one. It also dates when you found it, which I always thought was a little odd but charming. Exploring in this game is very incentivized as you'll find way more secrets than in an ordinary 3D Mario game. You can use all the new mechanics in creative ways and you're bound to be rewarded. Since this is my second playthrough, I kind of knew where to go for most of the moons, but that didn't stop me from finding new ones in places that I'd never thought to look before. The sense of discovery is honestly amazing in this game and it pairs so well with the new mechanics introduced. Aside from moons, you'll collect coins which act as a currency, but you'll also find purple coins that are unique to each kingdom you'll visit. They act as a currency for that specific kingdom and there's a finite number of each one in every kingdom. Collecting them becomes part of the game, but it's totally optional for the most part. The coins and purple coins can be used in shops that are in each of the kingdoms that allow you to buy different clothing for Mario. Each set of clothing is unique to the kingdom, so in the Beach Kingdom, Mario can get a pirate costume since it matches the theme of the kingdom. You'll use both currencies to buy these outfits for Mario, with the purple coins usually getting the more interesting costumes. You can also buy souvenirs for the airship from every kingdom, but I hardly did this, except for when I just happened to find more purple coins than I needed for the costumes. Once you've collected enough moons in the kingdom you're currently searching in, you'll be able to use them to power up the Odyssey and fly to the next kingdom. The number of moons varies, but there's always way more moons than you'll need. Usually collecting more moons is better, but not really required to complete the game. In each kingdom you'll face a boss enemy, sometimes more than one. The bosses in most kingdoms will be members of Bowser's wedding planning group known as the Broodals. They're bunny characters that'll attack you with their special hat weapons, except for Madame Broodal, who fights with the Chain Chomp. There's 4 Broodals in total, not counting Madame Broodal, and they each have a unique design in boss battle. The members are Topper, Rango, Spewart, and most likely to be Rule 34'd. I mean Harriet. They each have a pretty easy boss battle that, With some practice, you could probably cheese in less than a minute. They are fun and feel rewarding though, except for the first fight, which is super easy, and the second fight with the character is almost easier. You also get to fight some pretty interesting and very non-Mario boss fights, like this one against a statue, or this one against an alien spaceship, or how about this one against a straight-up Skyrim dragon. Yeah, this thing isn't a 3D Mario game, and it's one of the easiest boss fights in the game, believe it or not. I remember the first time I saw it, I was reminded that for a second I was able to control a T-Rex. I was then immediately disappointed I couldn't control the dragon. I just want to control a dragon, come on Nintendo. You also get a few fights with Bowser, and those are pretty standard and nothing to write home about. Though the last fight for some reason gave me trouble, the others were pretty easy. Moving away from the boss fights, let's talk about the kingdoms you'll be exploring. There are a total of 15 kingdoms if you count the Cap Kingdom starting area. You'll be able to run around each kingdom and explore what they have to offer. Each kingdom has a certain number of power moons scattered around them. You'll be able to control a new enemy in just about every kingdom, and those will help you get more moons and purple coins. As mentioned before, each of the kingdoms has a special shop that allows you to buy clothing from that kingdom. Each shop sells one moon that will set you back 100 coins. Honestly, that's a fair deal, kinda like in Mario 64 where you get a star for collecting 100 coins at any level. From each of the kingdoms, I think a few stick out as my favorites to explore, but clearly Nintendo set up one to be the most expansive. Metro Kingdom is probably the most iconic level in the game. It takes place in New Dunk City that looks like a parody of New York City and is inhabited by humans. Yeah, like real humans, which begs the question of what is Mario? He doesn't look like the rest of these suit-wearing humans. A theory for another day, perhaps. Let's move on. You enter the city at night and have to help restore power. There's a boss you defeat, and as soon as you do, the city is saved and back to daytime. You'll still need to go underground to get the power back on, though. Once the power is back on, Pauline, the mayor of the city, and the woman Mario saved from Donkey Kong way back on Donkey Kong the arcade game, will ask for your help, setting up a celebration for the city. She needs you to find musicians that are all scattered around New Dunk City. They are easy enough to find, and each one gives you a power moon once you do. It was very clear from the level design that Nintendo really wanted you to spend most of your time exploring New Dunk City. There's so many unique aspects to this level, and not just the design of the kingdom. There's also more moons here than I think most of the other levels. Once all the musicians are found, the most iconic scene in the whole game begins. A live concert with Pauline singing the game's main theme. The music is so good, not only with this one song, but in the rest of the game too. So many songs that can go on just about any playlist. The music really feels energetic here, and there's even a vocal track, which is the first for the series. You go into the 2D side-scroller world of Mario and begin collecting coins to the music. It feels like a montage you get to play. The music picks up as you play through for a glorious finale. Mario's given his power moon and you end the celebration. This scene will always stick out to me as one of the most hype for a Mario game, or in all gaming, honestly. It was so energetic and the song was so good, they really couldn't have made it any better. It even paid homage to Mario's beginnings way back on the arcade. If Metro Kingdom is the best kingdom, then I guess I'd also have to pick a worst kingdom. Honestly, I don't have one. They're all pretty quick to beat if you run through, so even if you hate a kingdom, it doesn't take long to clear it and move on to the next one. No kingdom really overstays its welcome in that regard. Super Mario Odyssey did a lot of things right for a 3D Mario game. One thing that it didn't do so well in my opinion was the ending. Spoilers for the end of a Mario game, but like, it's a Mario game, so you know how it goes. Mario must go to Bowser's Kingdom, which is themed after feudal-era Japan. An awesome theme, and the kingdom itself is pretty fun. You fight the Brutals for one last time. They decide to go all Power Rangers on you and form one special robot as their final stand. You can cheese this one super easily if you can get the capping mechanics down to perfect before the fight. You can stomp on each of their heads and then boom, defeated. You receive the Power Star, and now you head to the true Final World Kingdom, which is on the moon for some reason. You arrive and the first thing you'll see is a chapel off in the distance. After you traverse the few areas of the moon worth seeing, you'll go to the wedding chapel and stop Bowser from forcing Peach to marry him. It's a pretty simple affair. You'll see members from every kingdom you've visited so far for some reason. Even Pauline is here. Bowser then tells you that you weren't invited, which is rude since Mario invites him to all his social events. Mario then falls through a trapdoor and you start the final battle. This one is easy but still gave me some trouble. The stupid fire breath attack's hitbox looks bigger than it is. Bowser's defeated and Peach joins you in celebrating. Then the whole place begins to shake and now you have to escape, but of course you can't do it without Bowser's help. So Mario throws Cappy and becomes Bowser. It gives you a quick look into the past of Bowser before you're running through a collapsing moon. Playing as Bowser feels awesome. He's such a powerful character. He can slice through pillars, shoot fire from his mouth, and jump pretty far. It's fun to hear Mario sound effects coming from Bowser as well. The ending song is such a J-pop bop, I can't help but listen to it on repeat. It's another song that has a vocal line, which is again a first for the series. The music really hypes you up as you run through the collapsing moon. You make it to the end and you, Peach, and Bowser are saved. Mario then approaches Peach like he's about to ask her to marry him, a wedding that would be 30 years in the making. But Bowser steps in, also asking for Peach's hand in marriage, which makes no sense since he's been pulling some crazy stuff over the years. Maybe he's betting on her possible Stockholm Syndrome? Peach then declines both and walks away. It's such a sad moment. I thought finally there would be a permanent change in the world of Mario, but no, it goes back to the status quo, like it always does. There's this funny moment of Mario patting Bowser's back as they both just got denied by Peach. Like, it's okay, buddy. There's more fish in the sea, except there doesn't seem to be any other Mario-like humans, so I'm not really sure how true that is. And that's Mario Odyssey, a great mechanical 3D Mario game. 3D Mario mechanics have almost been perfected since the first game in 1986. It's incredible to see what they were able to do with such a small leap in hardware power, though. Like, this could have been released for the Wii U and not much would have changed, probably. Except no one owns a Wii U. The sound design in the game is perfect in almost every way, and it really goes along with every part of the game's design. From the singing in the game's epic moments to the sound of Mario as a Cheep Cheep. Every sound was significant and charm-filled. It's probably the perfect follow-up to Mario Galaxy 2, and the first time a 3D Mario game would become my game of the year since Mario 64. Or it would have been my game of the year if it didn't just so happen to release at the same time as Zelda Breath of the Wild. Like, what can compete with that game? With December coming to a close, I'd like to say Merry Christmas to everyone, and thank you for watching some guy on the internet ramble about a video game made for children. Who knows, maybe next year I'll cover Super Mario 64. I guess it's a good thing I got this.